Are we on the air? Okay. Welcome, everybody. Megan, can you read the statement of presiding officer, please?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call and information, were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel and the Morris Daily Record and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda.
I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Megan, can you take the roll?
Committeeman Dorsey?
Here.
Committeeman Verleza?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Present.
Mayor Lavender?
Present. First question, where's my gavel?
Find the drawer.
You broke
No.
it, remember that night?
Oh, yeah,
Couldn't
that's right.
find it.
Oh, here it is. How about that? Somebody at the high school. Somebody at the high school.
Wait,
took it.
is
Oh, it's,
It's still working.
there's no glasses.
Still works, yeah. I'm gonna test it. Yeah, that works. All right. So first, on the agenda, ordinance 524-23, this is the second reading and adoption. An ordinance concerning the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee and amending section 2-35 of the Township Code. Jack or Randy, do you want to just give us a quick synopsis?
Sure, Mayor. The HPAC has asked that we expand the responsibilities in the ordinance to include advise the mayor and township committee of the need for repairs, preservation, restoration, or upgrades to township-owned historic sites and structures, and also, with the agreement of the committee regarding the cost and scope of the project, document the historical significance of structures to be demolished if appropriate. So those are the two things being added to the responsibilities at the committee's request.
Okay. So any discussion here on the dais? If not, I'll open this for public hearing. Would anyone in the audience like to make comments on this ordinance? Megan, anybody online?
If anybody on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Okay. Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. And I'll ask, can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 524-23?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Okay, next, consent agenda resolutions. Megan, I think we have one addition to resolution 23-295, and that's adding Lee O'Connor as a supervisor at $30 an hour.
Correct.
And I believe, Matt, you have an abstention.
Oh, yeah, from 23-295 for the basketball, rec salaries.
Correct. Does anybody else have anything that they want to pull or discuss? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve resolutions 23-293 through 23-305?
So moved.
I'll second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes,
Commi-
absent the, abstention.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Okay, next, let's go into liaison reports. Vic, I'm going to start down your end. Would you like to start?
Absolutely.
One second.
All right, the rec liaison report is as follows. With the lighter schedule for school this week, we are running a contest for Long Hill kids 14 years and younger, the biggest leaf in Long Hill contest. All week long, kids have been bringing in their leaves for the official measuring. On Thursday, 11/9 at 4 p.m., we will announce the winner. So there's still time to go out and exploring tomorrow and come down to rec with your big leaf. Basketball programs are around the corner. On Saturday, recreation basketball program will start on November 18th. Emails were sent out today with times and details. Adult basketball programming started on 10/19 on Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. Folks can still register. Program runs through May 2nd. Registration is on Community Pass. The travel basketball teams have formed and practices have started. First game start on 12/1. Click, click, click. Enter the autumn into long... Wait, let me do that again. Click, click, click. Enter the autumn in Long Hill Pro Photography Contest is through 12/1. Entry is online through Community Pass, or residents can print out an official entry form from the website. Check out all the details on our website. We still have a couple spots open in fall yoga class with Aubrey Reichert Eline. Did I get it right this time?
Yes.
All right. Which meets Monday mornings from 9:15 through 10:15 a.m. at the old Millington Schoolhouse. Call the Recreation Department if you are interested. Tomorrow night, Red Cross First Aid training from 6:30 p.m. till 9:30 p.m. at the Long Hill First Aid Squad. There is still some time to register on Community Pass. All participants will receive a certificate good for 2 years from Red Cross. The cost is $32 per person for individuals 13 plus years old. We got slide 7. Red Cross layperson adult and pediatric CPR/AED class on Wednesday, December 6th from 6:30 p.m. through 9:30 p.m. Register on Community Pass. Class size is limited, so don't delay. All participants will receive a certificate good for 2 years from Red Cross. The cost again is $32 per person for individuals 13 years old and up. All right, we got slides 8 and 9, which I think is going to wrap it up. Once again, the North Pole has authorized Long Hill Recreation Department to collect letters from Santa. All good children in Long Hill, and maybe even those who are a little naughty, but with good reason, are invited to place their letters
Who's writing this?
in the special Santa box, which will be at Town Hall starting on 11/24. Children can also mail their letters to Long Hill Parks and Recreation at 915 Valley Road in Gillette. Make sure to include your return address so Santa's elves can reply. And that concludes my rec liaison report. Thank you.
Santa told me he's going to get you a new V-neck.
All right. You know I wear them.
Open space now. Speaking of V-necks, let's go to open
All right.
space.
So
Get that joke.
as far as beautification and open space, there are no updates for this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Things are beautiful. Matt,
Yes. All right. Let's see. The DPW is continuing their crack sealing while it's still applicable. Please, if there are potholes, report them to the DPW. They'll get out there as soon as possible. They've been doing property maintenance along the township properties. It's obviously leaf cleanup time, as you can see from your own yards. They've been doing, and they continue to do, dead tree removal, and they are prepping for the winter season. Hopefully, they don't need to get the plows out. Fire department, they have 197 calls to date for our Long Hill's Bravest. I believe the coin toss for the Sterling Fire is it on Black Friday, right over by Marcy's Kitchen. And Millington, we just approved one. Millington's doing a coin toss. When's theirs? Oh, here it is. December 9th, so a week or two later up by All Saints. So keep an eye out for that, and please drive by there and say hello and give them some money. And then as I always say with the police, no news is good news. So thank you, everybody. I did like to promote the PBA is running their first annual superhero race. It's going to be a little chilly. It's February 10th, 2024. Detective, it's February 10th, correct? There you go. So it's February 10th. If you are a runner or no runner, please promote this event. You can go to superheroracing.com for more information. Thank you.
and about leaves, residents can drive them themselves to DPW and drop them off on Saturdays?
Yes. Well, I don't know how much longer they're open on Saturdays for, but during the week they can bring them down there and drop them off too.
Okay,
So yes, if you want to go during business hours, they can go down. Sure.
got it.
And that
Okay,
ends up being part of the mulch. So if
Yep.
it comes around, goes around.
excellent. All right, good. Thank you. Guy, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real quickly, the First Aid Squad annual fund drive is ongoing. Remember, they are fully 100% volunteer. They do an incredible job servicing everybody in the community. So if you are able to, please donate generously. And I don't have an official update from NJ American Water, but I know there are residences that are receiving letters. They're beginning their diligence work. Without going into too much detail, there are a lot of requirements in the bid specs when they bought the wastewater system from Long Hill Township. So if you do receive a letter or if they come on your property, please cooperate. They are in the process of beginning what is required to be done by October 2025.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else?
That's it, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor.
And then lastly, Brendan sends his regrets. He was unable to attend tonight, but he wanted me to remind everybody that the planning board will be having another public meeting next Tuesday with regard to the master plan. More deliberation on that as that moves forward.
What's the date of that meeting?
It's next Tuesday, right, Tom? 14th.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay. Let's move forward. Administrators report. Randy.
Yeah, Mayor, I have two things. We're currently working with the 2024 budget, and where the department heads and various committees and commissions are getting me their budget requests. We'll start reviewing them towards the end of the month. We're also working with our new human resources consultant and working with some training that we'll be doing on December 14th. And in the beginning of the year, we're working with him on doing some harassment training, which will be in the discussion section.
Good. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it. All right, so moving on into discussion items and to, follow up on that harassment training topic that we've been on. I've got the list of training offered by the our risk managers. I'm taking a look at that right now. And I think by the time we get together the next time, we might make a recommendation for committee members and chairs of some of the other committees to go through this as well. So that's moving forward. We had something to do with the municipal region nominee to the Morris County Historic Preservation Review Board. Brendan, who's the liaison to HPAC, said that HPAC doesn't have a nominee at this time. I think Carolyn, that's right. Yeah, I reached out to Larry Fast to see if there was anybody he would recommend as well, and so this has to be in by the end of the month. I don't know that we're going to be able to do anything for that. Next, there was a topic about vacating certain paper streets with a possible ordinance around that. Jack, what's that about?
Yes, Mayor, we've received an inquiry from a resident whose property abuts a paper street known as Carroll Lane. And in reviewing my files, this came up back in 2007, I believe. And abutting residents asked that Carroll Lane, a paper street, and Manuel Street, which I believe runs parallel to Long Hill Road at the end of Carroll Lane, be vacated. The Township Committee was in favor of it at the outset, but they thought we should vacate some other streets at the same time, rather than having separate ordinances every time. So they came up with Manuel Street, Orange Street, which I know is down by the Berkeley Heights end of town, Eloise Place, I'm not sure where it is, and York Drive. But then when it came up, the Township Committee at that time decided they didn't want to vacate any streets. So it just died on the vine.
Right, and that Eloise Place, that's on that property that connected to the Leo the Lion property. And I think they donated some property, but it's all in wetlands and everything now,
Yeah,
so
it's all wetlands.
It's all wetlands.
So in any event, I submitted this to you and suggested we discuss adopting it this time.
Should we have the engineer go through each of
Absolutely,
these?
that was gonna be my next
Yeah.
suggestion.
So-
Because we can't landlock any property,
Right.
but I'm sure they don't, just from the fact that it was studied back in 2007. And the other thing is, you'll see in section 2 of the ordinance, by state law, we have to reserve any utility easements that may be under any of these paper streets. So what happens, just by way of background, when we vacate a paper street, the town doesn't own the streets, it's more like an easement.
Right,
And we vacate it by ordinance, we're not deciding who the property reverts to. Usually it goes 50-50 to the property owners on each side.
Mhm.
There are cases they call marginal paper streets, where it may go entirely to one side. But that's not our issue. It's up to the abutting property owners to determine that.
right. So like as a next step on this, and I see that you gave us an ordinance for this, should we have the engineer review each of these and just do our due diligence on that?
Yeah, I think in the meantime, you could probably introduce it and have the engineer do it in the
Yeah.
meantime.
And you know who else would appreciate looking at that? Dennis.
Yes, I'm sure he knows the entire history.
Yeah, I'm sure Dennis walked these things at one time.
Probably back in 2007.
Okay, all right. So, any discussion up here?
Not for me, Mr. Mayor.
Is this something that we want to put a motion to approve this on first reading?
I have no problem with it. I mean, I know where a couple of the streets are, and there's no way they're ever gonna get used.
But the only reason I suggest that is we're running out of time in the calendar year.
Yeah.
So to give us more time, if we have to carry the public hearing an extra meeting,
Yeah,
no harm
that's
done,
true.
but at least we aren't gonna run out of time before the end of the year.
All right. Vic?
Fine
All right.
with me.
Can I hear a motion to accept 529-23 on first reading?
So moved. Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. All right, so the public hearing and second reading will be on December 13th. So between now and then, too, we'll have feedback from Mark and, Dennis, I think, too, would be good.
And any members of the public.
Any members of the
may be
public,
affected.
too, yeah. All right. Old and new business, and I have a note here. We previously adopted Resolution 23-288, and this was awarding the contract for Poplar Drive to American Asphalt. And the resolution said $122,428.24. And it actually should have read it said $122,428.24, and it should have been $122,428.33, a 9-cent difference. And so can we do a motion for Megan to revise the resolution to reflect that?
So moved.
Second,
It's really just an administrative correction. so-
administrative connection. Second?
Oh, I'll do it. I thought you said. Oh, I'll second then.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And Mayor, just for clarification, yes, we agree, Megan and I agree, but we wanted on the record because this is a DOT application
Yeah,
also.
I wasn't
So,
disagreeing with you on that.
Yeah, so that's why we wanted to bring it
I
forward.
just meant rather than having an ordinance to amend. it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Any other old, new business? Oh, yes,
I was
there is
gonna
one
ask
thing.
you.
The Mike's Music Place.
That's what I was gonna ask you
Why
about.
don't you go ahead? You
Oh,
take
I have
it.
to pull up the email. There was some discussion people brought to our attention online last week, I think it was on last week, about the old Mike's Music Shop, which there was supposed to be got approval to be, I think, like a Greek takeout place. I think it was called like Phil's Grill or something. I think, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So, basically, we were accused of, let's see, aside from taking bribes, the Township Committee was accused of not issuing the permits. First, we don't issue the permits, that goes to the construction department. And second, that the town was holding up the entire process. So we looked into this, and this is basically the timeline. The resolution was approved back in early June of 2022 for Phil's Grill. March 7th, 23, I guess Deb Coons and zoning checked with the engineer, the applicant's engineer, when they would receive the revised plans to review for resolution and compliance. The engineer said that they were still in the process of selecting a contractor and finalizing the resolution compliance sets. June of this year, the resolution compliance plans are received from Phil's Grill to the town. That was on June 22nd. June 28th, they received Morris County soil erosion approval. July 10th of this year, the resolution compliance was complete by the board professionals. However, the condition remained that they would require a retaining wall calculations be reviewed, verified by the construction official and town engineer prior to the issuance of permits. July 18th, the Morris County Planning Board approval received. However, they are required to get a county engineering permit approval before doing any work. Additionally, the engineer from Phil's noted they were not ready to bring the plans, and they're still having issues with the contractor. Now, the last update we got was on October 6th, 2 days ago, November 6th. Deb reached out to Phil's engineer for an update, and we were told that they were continuing to have issues hiring a contractor the past couple of months, but as of October, they believe they have a contractor and they will be using. He further noted the final plans for submission are 95% ready and will hopefully submitted by the end of the month. So at least for that project, you can see the township's not holding anything up. We're just waiting to get plans and information from Phil's Grill. So he hasn't even applied for construction permits yet. Now, they did some demolition, which is done, and I hope the project keeps moving forward. What else do you want to hear about? Taco Bell or?
No.
No. All right, that's fine.
And
I
gonna
wanna hear
shock-
about Taco
I'm gonna-
Bell.
I'm gonna shock my colleagues and be more succinct than Matt. For everybody who's listening, let's cut to the chase here. Until plans are submitted and a contractor is hired, the proprietor, the future proprietor, cannot apply for permits. So there are no permit applications sitting in the office back here. There is no delay in Deb Kuntz's office,
That
so.
basically sums it up. We're just waiting on, they have approval, we're just waiting for them to do what they need to do, and then they'll go through the proper procedure like everybody else, but until we actually get the plans and they ask for a construction permit, we can't issue
Yeah,
something they don't
anybody
ask
who's ever
for.
done any work knows you have to submit the plans, and that contractor, you can contract yourself, but in this case, that isn't what is happening, then the permit application is submitted. That has not been done. So there's nothing we can do. Certainly at the committee level, we have nothing to do with that. And certainly in Ms. Kuntz's office, nothing she can do. So, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor, that's it.
Thank you, that was comprehensive. And if anybody has any questions about these kind of things, they can always reach out to Randy or his administrator, Colette Arment.
Yeah, I would think that's better than just going to social media and making up stories, so.
Yeah, the problem, I have to get my inner Ronald Reagan out here. The problem with social media is there are comments that are often made, not always, just some random ones that are made here and there, where the person posting it is so certain of something that just isn't so. And this was a classic example of that. It's just not so. So, there you go, Mr. Mayor.
I think it's often just smack talk. You guys take it personal. Okay,
You talking to me?
yeah, I am. All right. Also, too, this was raised to our attention. Is tonight 20 years since the first township committee meeting in this room?
That is what Mr. Sandow said at the last meeting, and he reviewed all of the meeting minutes, so I would take his word.
He did, and he had suggested that we have candy outside, but
There's cookies in the back,
there's cookies in the back. Thank you.
for anybody that wants one.
All right.
You want me to put it there?
Okay, so at this point, if there's no other business, I'll open the meeting to the public. Does anybody in the courtroom here have any comments they'd like to make? Please limit them to 3 minutes. State your name and address. No one? Oh, here's one.
The cookies are courtesy of Municipal Clerk Megan Phillips, just for anybody.
Tom, could you pass that around on your way back? Yeah, please.
Everybody who comes to the mic gets a cookie.
Didn't Don Rickles used to say that? You can have a cookie.
You get a second cookie if you keep your comments below 3 minutes.
Well, I'm going to cut you down on your brownies then. Tom Jones, Gillette. First, I'd like to say congratulations to Mayor Lavender, Committeeman Dorsey on
Thank you,
winning
Tom.
your elections. Also, Carol, congratulations. And to Tom Grosskopf, congratulations to you as well.
And Kim Case.
Say again.
Kim Case.
Tim
the-
Case, thank
Kim
you.
Right?
Forrester.
And one other person.
Forrest.
Justin
Justin
Foster.
Foster.
Justin Foster.
Foster.
Mr. and
Yeah.
Foster,
Absolutely.
yes. So congratulations to all those who won their elections. Well done. November 11th is Veterans Day, so I would just like to say to all our veterans, thank you for your service.
Which Mr. Jones is a retired, do I say retired?
I
You
served.
never retired, right? That's the wrong
No.
word.
I served. Thank you.
Okay.
I did my
And
time.
what service?
I was in the U.S. Army, 82nd Airborne.
Okay.
I'd like to just give an update on the project down in Myersville, the baseball and court. I don't know if you covered that, but that's moving forward really well. The tennis court fences are down. The basketball court's down, so that project is moving forward. So you guys have been very, very efficient in moving that through the process. I'm sure they are following the process as well, so well done on that. And yes, on the 14th for the planning board, we are going to go through the master plan.
Good.
And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Anybody want cookies?
Pass them around.
They're good. I had one.
Anybody else in the room like to make a comment, please? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Scott Mortensen. I live in Gillette.
Hi.
First and foremost, Megan, I may owe you an apology because I think I talked to you last week when I was pretty upset about the clearing of that Parisi property on Delaware.
That might have been
And-
Deb.
Yeah, so whoever I talked to said they had, some sort of committee responsibilities for organizing notes and minutes and whatnot. So if it's not you, please pass it on. Congratulations also to those who have gotten reelected or elected. Your comment on social media or Inner Reagan, I immediately thought about Truth Social. I don't know if everybody else did, but often what's there is not true. And then regarding the construction, et cetera, is there a process map or a process script a resident like myself can see? So I understand the different stages that go on when we do get a proposal, review,
For an application.
for construction, new construction, or, property development, anything like that. Is there a,
Cheat sheet.
yeah,
Yeah,
cheat
the-
sheet, script, process,
exactly.
map, something that helps me understand how things move through to this committee for approval, what the necessary steps are, et cetera. Does that exist? It's not online that I can find.
I don't know if it would be online. If an applicant comes in, they are given the cheat sheet to prepare before they actually go before the board. But I don't know, is that what you mean?
No,
Let
for
me take a look at-
residents
how
to
about
know
I
what's
take a
going
look-
on, correct?
Yeah.
Only reason, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I've been getting some phone calls regarding, hey, listen, this project was just approved, and this is going on, boop, 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 and is it approved or not? I'm getting those kind of questions called
Which-
into
which
me.
pro-
I really
which
don't know
project?
the answer myself.
Any project or, okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think it would help. It would clear up some ambiguity. The cheat sheet's a good start. So maybe I could see that, or we could get a copy of that, or it's posted on the Long Hill Township website.
I don't know if it's posted, to be honest. I
Yeah.
think it usually comes in when Deb Kuntz may be able to provide that. All applicants that come in, I had the joy of serving on the Board of Adjustment for 8 or 9 years and then on the Planning Board for 5. And during that time, not me, somebody smarter than me came up with the idea, why don't we have a cheat sheet so when the applicant comes before the engineer and the planner and except they have a
Right.
pre-meeting and they can just check off what needs to be, because it might be 20 things, 30 things that could be required, but only 3 of them or 4 of them are applicable to their application. So that's the cheat sheet I'm referring to. Now, in terms of update for active thing, which I think you're getting at, something that might be in process, or the cheat sheet
No,
is something we could start with.
Yeah, cheat sheet would be great.
Right.
I think it just makes for more educated conversation and, more intelligent questions to
Yep,
you all.
absolutely.
Versus, a bitch or complaint, or, excuse me, or other. So let's start with that. let me see if that does the trick. Thank
So
you.
Megan, he'll contact you and you can, yeah.
Yeah,
I did what I do best there. I delegated, now
perfect.
I'm out.
Yep, I know, understand it. I guess what I'm bringing to you as a resident, I'm also a board member in Chestnut Run, but I'm not here representing the board. I'm here representing, me as a resident here in Gillette. And I'm just sharing what my concern is on what happened on that Parisi property, and that has been clearscaped. 10 acres of land totally obliterated. Trees, hundreds of years combined of trees, plants, bushes, everything, gone. And where that's upsetting is that we are in a water-challenged area. I think you guys know that better than I do. I've only lived here for a year and a half, maybe 2. What we just took out of there, or what was taken out of that property, just changed the whole dynamics of that area from a water absorption standpoint. And that's disturbing because fundamentally, it's a lousy example of stewardship. And it's something that we need to take into consideration as properties are being developed. It's no longer bulldoze the crap out of it all and build it. We have an environmentally and ecologically a tragedy up there in my view. And I am no tree hugger. But when you sit there and you watched what happened up there, there is no reason for it. None. It could have been appropriately cleared to demonstrate to a buyer of either the home or the entire property what the size and the scope of the lot was, and then further decisions could have been made. Or there could have been an element of saving a certain part of that property's landscape and let somebody come back to this board and ask for more. And these are the types of steps that I hope in the future we can learn from this debacle, in my view, and move forward with being environmentally and ecologically responsible, especially in the environment that we find our Long Hill Township in. We are water challenged, and we shouldn't be taking things out that create more problems or could cause more problems. I believe the property owner does have, to a certain degree, the right to do what they want to do, but there's also an ethical, there's a moral, and there's a community responsibility that comes with that as well. So I, as Scott Mortensen, private citizen, not Chestnut Run board member, I share my concerns because this should not be allowed to happen. We should go forward with an eye toward what's the best for managing water, the environment, and the ecology and that we're going to be passing on to our kids, and what's going to keep this as a really beautiful place to live. So I'm hoping that my frustration and me being upset with this will at least plant a little seed in the next project that comes along, because there's plenty of land out here, and it's going to be clearscaped unless this board stops it and we as residents speak up. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it and I agree with you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the courtroom like to say anything? Okay, seeing none. Is there anybody online, Megan?
Dennis Sandow would like to speak.
Dennis? Dennis,
Good evening.
good evening.
I have got 4 items. I started out with only 1, but I'm up to 4.
Okay,
Yes, this is the 20th anniversary of the first meeting that was held in the new town hall building. The crowd was much larger.
how come you're not here to eat the
the-
cookies?
Hello?
How come you're not here to have a cookie with us?
Because Megan told me
God bless you.
just yesterday that she wasn't going to produce snacks. And so part of my request is that someone save me a cookie and I'll pick it up tomorrow.
You snack shamed her into buying cookies, and she bought cookies.
Oh, she actually responded. Too little, too late. I'm sorry.
All right, keep going. Number 2.
Number two, with regard to the cheat sheet,
I bet you have
The-
one.
the sad part is that we've got several hundred pages of zoning ordinance, plus in the general ordinances, all the instructions for the construction department. And if we could boil those 300 pages down, we might boil it down to 280. It's a very complicated process, and I think that any applicant who wants to do work should rely on the town's professionals on the staff to help walk them through it. With regard to what Guy said about the boards, just a reminder that very little of the construction activity in town has to go through one of the boards. Most of it is when an applicant comes in and they are entirely within the zoning and construction ordinances, they get approval and a board never sees it. One of the problems with that is that the members of the public who might be neighbors never get a chance to comment at a public hearing. Now, if the applicant is doing something different from the ordinance and needs a variance, then there is room for public comment. And quite frankly, I don't know if there is a solution to that. Maybe Jack does.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We cannot, Dennis, because the municipal land use law exempts 1 and 2 family properties from any kind of board approval,
If I-
unless they need a variance, as you said.
So, but I think I now understand the context of the question earlier, based on what came after it. So the pre-application meetings that I was referring to was in fact, yes, a Board of Adjustment or a planning board application. That cheat sheet was written by Sandy Raymer, who was the chair way back when. But in the context of the question, or the comments, not so much the question, had that been discussed, perhaps it would have been preventable, what in fact occurred. So I think maybe we can have a conversation, or Jack, you can let us know what could have been done in this particular case, because I'll be honest with you, I had no idea that had happened.
I know you don't want debate, and we don't want to get, but there was public comment on 27th, and people got up into this microphone and said what was going to happen if this happened, and it happened. The land was cleared. And so what was the purpose of the public comment period if that was not heard?
Yeah,
I mean, some of my fellow residents got very eloquently said, this is what's going to happen if you clear that property. And it got cleared beyond any reasonable
Yep, no,
expectation.
you're loud and clear what you said.
Yep.
Thank you.
I won't come back.
When the planning board considered that application, we saw a landscaping plan, which was quite conservative, and we approved it based on that landscaping plan. That's about all I can tell you. Now, it turns out that a property owner who wants to go beyond the landscaping plan, at this point, there are no penalties in our ordinance for that. Well, I know we've talked about it for many years, about limiting clear cutting, but there's always a loud number of voices who say we cannot limit clear cutting because the trees are owned by the property owner. So it's a quandary, and I don't have an answer for it.
Okay, Dennis, number 3.
Number 3, with regard to paper streets, I'd just like to point out that you introduced a paper street ordinance, a vacating ordinance earlier in the meeting, but that ordinance text is not in the, I'm sorry, what was that?
No, we're waiting for you. That text is not in the,
The paper street ordinance was not in the agenda, and so we really don't have a way of knowing what the context of that is, and if you're going to hold a hearing at the next meeting, we still don't know what the context is of, unless it appears in the agenda for the next meeting. I will say this, back in 2007, when Jack's research was done on the Carroll Street property, there were a lot of voices on the Township Committee who thought that paper streets should not be vacated because they would be useful in the future for recreation purposes, for trails and so on. An actual measurement and count of those streets, and there are about 50 of them in my inventory, shows that almost none of them, maybe one or two that I can think of, but most of the streets, the paper streets, are little stubs that don't lead you to any recreational use. So we could go big time and vacate a lot of those streets and simplify the tax map greatly. That's really up to you as to whether you want to take that on as a major task in the next year. And I'll leave that for your discussion. But there's an awful lot of these little stubs that are left over.
And we've probably vacated
Mostly
50 streets in the past too, because so many of them were, I think what happened was a lot of subdivisions were laid out before the 1929 crash. So where Orange Street is, there are a whole bunch of streets named after streets in Newark. And they're small 100-foot or 50-foot wide lots and things, but they're all underwater now. So you're right, Dennis.
Well, they're not all underwater. For example, the Little League field is actually got 5 paper streets running through it, east to west, on the extension of Poplar Drive, which does not go all the way down to the river, although it shows on the tax maps that it goes down to the river. And there are 5 paper streets running eastward off of the non-existent Poplar Drive, and they chop up the Little League field. The Little League field actually consists of 5 separate blocks between these various paper streets. We could simplify the tax map a great deal by going through a massive overhaul, and I would be glad to take that on at the direction of the committee.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Number 5?
Number 4.
Oh, sorry.
Earlier today, we settled on April 24th. Mark your calendar as a date for the 22nd annual Sterling Street Fair.
April 24th.
You know what that means?
Perfect weather, right, Dennis?
It will be beautiful.
I have notified the Weather Bureau already.
Okay. Anything else?
And all the staff who have to be involved have been notified this evening to mark their calendars also. That's 165 days from today.
And counting. Got it. Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis.
Anybody else online?
FL would like to speak.
Go ahead, FL.
Good evening, Frank Liberato, Heritage Road.
Hey, Frank.
2 questions. First one, Mayor, can we get an update on status where you're at with the report Bob Falzerano's preparing? You know, since there's only a couple meetings left to the end of the year, just wanted to kind of see where you were at with things.
Yeah, sure. Randy and I had a meeting with Mr. Falzerano a week and a half ago, and he's still in the midst of preparing a final document. We had a chance to review some of the material in it, and the one thing that we were impressed by was the amount of information in it that's going to remain internal to the police department. And so one of the things that we're looking at, it's something that we have to talk to Jack about when he's done with the final document, and that's going to be probably in a couple of weeks. We're going to have to take a look at that, and I don't know if we're going to have to prepare a public gloss on that we can publish, or whether we do with a heavily redacted one.
Okay.
But, you know, he got slowed down a little bit in terms of collecting data, because a lot of information was either missing or it didn't exist, or was, you know, disappeared. So, you know, our hope is that we have that in our hands before the end of this month, and that we can talk about it before the final meeting of the year.
All right, that's thank you for the update. And then the second question was, I know over the past several meetings, as far as police liaison report, I know it's no news is good news. I was just curious, historically in the past, the police department used to provide liaison, like calls for service for the year and date, arrests, anything of concern, just kind of activity type stuff,
Yeah.
basic stats kind of stuff. Is that not being provided to the council anymore, or that's just something that's not being focused on?
No, yeah, let me talk to you a little bit about that. And so, a lot of what Bob is doing with, Lieutenant Chambrello is, working through changes in process and working on accreditation and a number of other things. One of the things that we've talked about is getting back to this idea of an end-of-year annual report. And this is something that was done really all the time here until a few years ago. It was a comprehensive document that was issued at the end of the year or the very beginning of the year, talking about all the things that you're mentioning. And that's something that, Bob has recommended, unequivocally that we have to get back to. Now, that said, with everything that Alexis has on her plate in terms of catching up and moving things back to a steady state, I'm not sure that we're going to have that in the next 2 months, but that's the goal. So, absolutely hear you, absolutely agree. We know it needs to get done, and we'd like to do it as soon as possible. Frank, I have something for you while you're on. Are you comfortable answering anything about fire department?
Sure. If it's something within my wheelhouse, yes.
So one of the things that we have to do, I think it's every couple of years, we have to register folks who have lights on their private vehicles, the blue lights. And I think Colette had said something out to Al Gallo. He's the chief, right? Can you do me a favor?
Yes, Al's the chief of Sterling, and yes, that's correct.
Yeah. I mean, we have to do this from a risk management perspective. Could you do me a favor and get back to the folks in Sterling Fire? Because we're going around to all the volunteer agencies. We want to make sure that everybody's registered for those and we're compliant, because it presents an issue to the town if there's an accident. We don't want to be in a position where we have to contest insurance claims and stuff like that.
I will pass it along to Chief Gallo. Do you want me to also pass it along to the Millington Fire Company also?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Right, and then
I will
you don't need
relay
to
to
you don't
both
need to bring
fire
it back to me, but bring it back to Colette if you would. All right.
Yeah, I'll actually have both chiefs contact her directly.
Cool. All right. Frank, anything else?
Nope, that's it. You answered my questions. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Anybody else online?
Oh, no. Dennis Sandow is re-raising his hand.
Wait, did you just realize April 24th is a Wednesday, Dennis?
I'm allowing him to speak.
I just need to make that correction. I think I said the 24th, but I just looked at the emails. It's the 21st, 21, April 21.
I want the record to show that Guy Pacercia corrected Dennis Sandow. Is that okay, Dennis?
It's okay with me.
On the 20th anniversary of the first
It
meeting
happens
in Town
once in a
Hall.
blue moon.
Okay. Anybody else online? No one else is online. Where is CA?
Oh, he was a poll worker yesterday, so.
All right. He's killing me here.
But you can do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. All right, I'm going to close public comment, but please, this one's for CA. All right, Chuck, if you're out there, I hope you're watching online. Every year you bust my chops because I forget that it's the Marine Corps' birthday. But this Friday, November 10th, is the Marine Corps' birthday, established in Get my little screen out of there because I have a little shtick I'm doing here. Yeah, get my little split screen out. Oh, you don't know how to do that. Okay, can you move it? Oh, you're like ruining the best picture.
All right,
Yeah. Anyway. So, I just want to say, I know Chuck is a Marine Corps veteran. Tom, thank you for mentioning Veterans Day on the 11th. But November 10th was always a big deal with my dad because my dad was a Marine. And I know Chuck was in the Marines, and he and I kind of share this thing every year. and I just wanted to bring Chuck a birthday cake. And so, around around the birthday cake, Chuck, there's a different scene in history, and I was going to have you guess what each battle was. The one on the top was Iwo Jima, Mount Suribachi. The one right under that is the Marines rushing to the shore of Guadalcanal. And under that, who's that guy?
That's Chuck.
No, that's not Chuck. That's the Marlboro Man in the Battle of Fallujah, 2004. Remember?
Yeah.
New York Post. And then the other side on the top, that's, I think that's the Battle of Derna, Tripoli, from the shores of Tripoli, right? And under that, Battle of New Orleans. Who wrote the Battle of New Orleans? Johnny Horton.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He sang, well, maybe both. Okay.
So anyway, Chuck, if you're out there, we just wanted to give you a warm birthday greeting. You can watch this on video. Save it for the rest of your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yes?
Where the Marines were conceived or where they were originated?
Where were they originated? They were originated during the Revolutionary War, right?
That's right.
Where?
In a bar in Philadelphia.
In a bar in Philadelphia.
What's the name of the bar?
I wish I had that.
Fado. That's a great bar for those out there in Philadelphia.
And so,
F-A-D-O.
so speaking of that, we don't have a bar to adjourn to, but we can go back to executive. So,
Cookies are still readily available. Compliments of Miss Megan Phillips.
all right.
No
So-
further action, right?
Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So
to,
moved, no further action.
No further action.
Second.
Thank
All
you,
right,
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.